it's just like, thank you very much for coming all the way from Honduras. I think I mentioned pupusas 2 or 3 times to people, and nobody knew what they were. And so, as a Native American, a pupusa, it's a bag that you carry a baby on your back.
Oh, wow.
A papoose. And so, is that similar?
In a way, yeah. You know, pupusas are like little bags that you basically fill up with whatever you want, meat or cheese or vegetables. So depending on what what you like, you can put chicken or pork or cheese or purely vegetables on them and just eat them like that. They're little baggies. I think they're like very like, Latin America, South America. You hear about arepas or gorditas, and these are all like cousins. Arepas, gorditas, pupusas, they're all cousins. Corn based and then filled with whatever you want to put in them, basically.
So,
Oh,
I'm still here.
Oh, you're still there? Okay, so you want me to start or how do we roll?
Yeah. I did have some people from some countries say they have a hard time getting corn flour, but that is what the base of this is corn flour.
Yeah. And so I'll just show everybody that this is the one that we use. And it's, I would say, pretty common in all Central America. Even in Mexico, they have different varieties of this corn flour. So you can even find blue, like from blue corn, from yellow corn. This is just white corn. So.
And how is that just different from cornmeal? Do you know?
I really don't know. I really have not used much cornmeal. Michelle and I were like just looking at the difference of cornstarch and this one yesterday because there's so many corn-based. And so we found out that the cornstarch is made from the starchy part of the corn, and basically corn flour is made from the whole kernel of the corn and just mashed and pulverized basically. But I really don't know the difference from cornmeal. Okay, well, let's start if you want. I want to start making kind of the toppings first and then making the pupusa till the very end. So we eat it hot and put all of our toppings in it. So I mentioned in the ingredients, pickled onion.
Pickled onion?
That you could use. Usually I make it a couple of days ahead of time, but to speed the process of pickling, we are going to heat the vinegar and then just.
Oh, so you're just basically making an instant pickle.
Yes. You can make it, with a week ahead of time. That's usually the best way because your vegetables are really crunchy. But we're just gonna make it like a quick pickle, and I'm just gonna use yellow onions and season my vinegar. But you can add whatever you want. You can add broccoli, you can add cauliflower, carrots, cucumbers, anything you want to the pickle. And so I'm just slicing the carrots, and then I'm gonna go to my other camera and heat up some of the rice vinegar. I use rice vinegar because it's the closest to sugar cane vinegar that we use back in Honduras. And so it doesn't have, it's not that bitter. You can season it with anything you want. And this is just plain, basically plain rice vinegar that we're going to spice up with some salt, pepper, bay leaf, and we're gonna heat it just briefly for the pickling. So let me move to my other side. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. I don't really see anyone. Can you let me know if you hear me or?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So I'm gonna add, let's say, half a cup of the vinegar in the pan. Pepper, a bay leaf, and salt.
Like a whole bay leaf, or
Yeah, a whole bay leaf. You can leave it out if you don't like it.
I mean, it's just, you're basically just making instant pickled onions.
Yes. Salt, whatever amount you like. I don't dilute my pickling liquid, so I'm not gonna add water or anything else or sugar. I just like it, some salt, pepper, and the bay leaf. So I'm just gonna heat. You don't have to make it boil or anything. Basically, it's just heating the vinegar. So when it gets to the onions, you know, the pickle will be quicker rather than just putting it in the cold oil. Cold vinegar, no oil. And so it'll probably just take a minute to heat. We don't want it boiling or anything, just hot. So I'm just gonna make sure that the salt mixes and pepper.
Now, do you pickle anything else, like any other vegetables, or you just do onion for this?
No, you can do anything you want. You can add carrots to this, cucumbers, different onions. You can do red onions. Some people like the red onion better than the yellow ones or the white ones. You know, you could add whatever you like to the pickle, basically.
Well, I mean, if you're pickling, it has to be stuff that is kind of crisp, so it doesn't turn mushy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Broccoli, cauliflower,
zucchini.
Baby, the baby corns. You could do that too. So my liquid is already hot. So what I'm just gonna.
We just started. We're just making pickled onions right now.
Just the pickled onions. I'm not adding anything else.
She just cutting them up and putting them in a pot.
Yeah, I just sliced them, basically sliced, put them in a bowl, then drop your liquid on top of them.
But you're just doing instant pickles. I mean, it could be any type of vegetable you want. You're just, doing a quick pickling.
Yes. And usually I make this and I make it like a week ahead of time. So I just put it in a jar and leave it pickling for a week or week and a half, depending on whenever I want to use it. You can add jalapenos if you like spice or other kind of peppers. So we're just gonna leave that on the side. So the other part, the other topping that I do is slaw, basically. Cabbage, some carrots. I'm gonna grate a carrot, and cilantro. I add cilantro to it.
So what do you call that in Spanish? Because I mean, coleslaw is an American name.
We just call it salad, basically.
Ensalada de col?
Ensalada, that's it. Ensalada. Well, we don't call it col, we call it repollo.
Oh yeah, col is cauliflower.
Oh, you can call it col, but I think more in Mexico they call it col, and we call it repollo. And so cabbage, I'm gonna grate a carrot, cilantro, and then I have limes that I'm going to add to the slaw. And so I have this mandolin kind of instrument that, you know, I just shred my cabbage with, but you can also do it with a potato peeler if you don't have one of these. Or if you're really good with a knife, well, you know, you can do it with a knife. So I'm just gonna slice this. And don't worry, it flies kind of everywhere sometimes, so we're just gonna clean it up.
So you're just making basic, in what we call in the US, basic coleslaw.
Yes. Well, in a way, I think coleslaw, I don't feel it has any flavor.
Well, so the debate in the US is coleslaw, do you put mayonnaise or do you put vinegar and oil as the base? And that's like a fight.
Okay.
For the flavor.
For mine, I do lime or lemons. You know, for us, it's very common, like every salad that we eat, we don't use creamy dressings or ranch or any, you know, kind of dressing. Basically, it's just lime or lemon with oil, salt and pepper, and that's it. Any salad that we eat. You could do pico de gallo also if you want to add more toppings. You know. So I already have my cabbage. I like soaking the cabbage in warm water and salt for a minute or two.
What do you think that does?
My preference, some people just like it as it is, but I like soaking it for a minute.
What does it do?
I don't know. I just, you know, that's the way I've always done it. It's just habit, I think. So I'm just gonna soak it with warm water.
Well, I mean, we did that from anything you pick direct from the garden. We would soak in warm water because it would cause all the bugs to float to the top.
Oh, okay.
And then you would scoop the bugs off. So from fresh. So maybe that's the reason why you've always done that. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. You know, that's the way my grandma always made it. So,
Yeah.
You know, basically you just follow grandma. She knows best. So anyway, while this is soaking, I'm going to chop my cilantro, and I just, you know, roughly chop it, add it to the slaw.
Oh, so that's different. US slaw doesn't really have cilantro in it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
like you said, you want more flavors, huh?
Yeah. It's just, you know, the fresh flavors, basically. You know, you want everything to have kind of different elements, and smells to it too, you know, because cilantro is very fragrant.
So have you ever met someone from a Latin country that cilantro tastes like soap to them? Because there are people that genetically can't eat cilantro because it tastes like soap. And I wonder if anybody from Latin country has that genetic.
I have never met anyone from a Latin country with that issue, honestly. Oh, and I'm just grating my carrot right now. And you can add as many or as little carrot, or if you don't like carrot, you can leave it out too. You know, pupusas is also something that varies within Central America. So I'm making the Honduran version of pupusas. If we were to do a Salvadorian pupusas, they make a tomato sauce and just the pickled vegetables. They don't add the cabbage to their pupusas. It's just tomato sauce and the pickled vegetables that they put on top of it. And they have a whole variety. I think El Salvador is one of the countries that has a really big variety of what they put in pupusas. You know, they add squash, beans. They have a particular vegetable that it's called loroco. It's a kind of a green flower. It's kind of a flower bud. So they cook that and they add it to their pupusas. So they have a whole variety. When I visited El Salvador, you know, I've never seen so many varieties of pupusas. Back in Honduras, we have, you know, you can add refried beans, you can add chicharron, you can add the mozzarella cheese. But there's no, you know, beyond that, we don't really have that much variety like El Salvador does. And and a lot of people fight too, like who made who, you know, where did pupusa start? In El Salvador and Honduras, and there's a whole fight about it.
Yeah, my mom uses some kind of flour, but I can't think of what it is. It's like an orange flour, and she like bakes it like you do pupusas. But sometimes she just dips it in corn flour and fries it. So it's not very thick, but I can't remember what the flour is. There's a lot of them around our house.
Cabbage now. Get the water off my container. And I'll just add the carrots and the cilantro to it. Mix it. I like my salad, my Slaw, like very limey, lemony. So that's why I add 2-3 limes.
Do you always use fresh lime, or you ever buy like, you know, you can buy lime or lemon juice in a bottle?
I really don't like it. I rather buy the lime or the lemons.
But that's so much more work. You can just buy like a whole jar. And
I know, but there's something about the taste, you know. It's like when you have an old lime or lemon that it has like an aftertaste to it. So I think that's what I don't really buy those. So I'm just mixing here. I'll just add a pinch of salt. Pepper. I'm going to go cumin too. I'm going to add a pinch of cumin.
So do you use the whole cumin seed or do you grind it up first?
No, here I just buy it, ground. Back home, we do grind it. We buy the seeds and we toast them and grind them.
So you're not putting the whole seed in here. You're actually
No,
grinding
it's
it up
just
for
the
powder.
cumin powder. Yeah,
Okay.
cumin powder. Yeah.
I like putting the whole cumin seed in when I pickle stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can add that too. My grandma, she liked to do like cloves and, like very, I don't know, different spices, I guess, to her pickles. But she will pickle anything, beets. She will pickle any vegetable that we had in season, basically.
That's interesting because I thought that was only a North American thing where we had to preserve things for winter. And Southern cultures didn't really pickle because you can get vegetables almost year round.
I think it depends. I don't think we do it like for preserving, because like you say, we find the vegetables. It's just that is a very common thing to have on the table. Like in my house, there's always pickled vegetables because people always ask for it. So, if we have a barbecue day or if we have Christmas and people come and eat, there has to be pickled something on the table because people like it and ask for it. So.
Well, where I grew up in the South of the United States is like that. But I didn't know that that was the case in any, further south, Huh.
So we
But
have
But do you usually make like fresh pickles and serve it, or do you, pickle it in a bottle for months later?
yes. So in
Both?
my house, I think my mom makes 2 jars every month of
Okay.
onions, jalapenos, carrots, and so that's basically what we consume every month is a jar of pickled vegetables.
Got it. I do that too, but I make it really, really, really spicy. I keep a jar of it and I put it on everything. But
So, in my house, my grandparents, they really loved having like trees and growing stuff. And so in my house, we have like different varieties of peppers. But we have like the tiny, teeny ones. And I think my mom is the only one that eats those because those will make you cry. And she will pickle them or dry them and have them there in the house. We also have some, spice to what we eat. So we have our slaw and we have our pickles ready. So we can start with the pupusas now. So I'm going to start with the cheese. So this is just fresh mozzarella cheese. And you can use shredded mozzarella or quesadilla cheese that you can find in some stores.
so can you use queso fresco or you want the cheese that melts?
You want a melty cheese. Yeah, queso fresco is not really melty. Cotija and queso fresco are not really melty. So we want something that's melty. And I like the fresh better than the shredded just because it adds some more moisture to the pupusa than just the shredded cheese. And so I'm gonna take the cheese. So basically what I'm going to do with the cheese, I just got this that it has the slices on it. I'm just gonna drop it here in my bowl and I'm gonna mush it. We want a dough type consistency too.
With the cheese, so you don't just cut it up and put like pieces of it in the pupusas. Oh.
I like making it like another type of, like another dough, like having my corn dough and then adding this into my pupusa. So I'll just do it with my hands, mush it all you can, that it looks like also another dough. It's just easier for me to work if I use it this way. I know some people adds a little bit of salt if you want in the cheese, if it's, you know, not salty enough. I'm not gonna add anything on the cheese.
So that's just it's not really, that's a fresh mozzarella with the one that still has water around the edge when you buy it in the bag. Yeah.
It has some water, yes. So see, once I've kind of worked it, is
because you can get mozzarella that's not very moist, but that one, you get the, like what they call fresh mozzarella, it has water around the edge of it in the bag still.
So, yeah. So in this bag, you know, you see there's some kind of liquid still in it. So yeah, that's the one that you want.
They call that fresh mozzarella.
And so you want that, you know, you want the fresh kind that has liquid on it, so you can work better with it.
Ooh.
Okay, so we have our.
Now, do you mix the cheese? I guess you'll tell us right into the dough, or you have to make sure you put it inside so it doesn't burn, right?
I'll show you the process.
Getting ahead. I'm hungry. I'm ready.
I'll show you the process. So let me just wash my hands.
Just like.
So with the dough, again, I don't have like a measure of telling you 3 cups or 4 cups. I'm just using 2 cups right now. 2 cups of the corn flour. And we are just gonna use water. We don't need anything else. It's just the corn flour and water. And so I basically kind of go feeling the dough. We want a dough that is wet. We don't want something that is hard or crumbly. We want a wet dough. So I'm just gonna start kind of working the dough. Just water, 2 cups of the masa and the corn flour, and then just water as I go. And you can season your dough if you want to. You know, if you want to add some salt or pepper. I just leave it plain. Honestly, I don't really add anything. I like mostly having the toppings with more of, you know, other seasonings than the dough.
So Yolany, I got a question. Is the cheese and the masa together and you're adding water? No, you have the cheese in one bowl and now you're adding water to the matzo flour. How much water to flour do you think? You're just trying to make it really moist, right?
Yeah, so I would say I have 2 cups here, and maybe this thing is 2 cups of water too. 1-to-1 ratio, 1 cup of masa, 1 cup of water.
Cold or warm, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
It's like
warm, you can do cold.
Now, is it possible, or does it cause the issue if you make it too wet?
No, you can add, if you make it too wet, you can add some more flour to it. And so what we want, let me just show you. So what we want is something that you can work with your hand and that it won't be sticky to your hand. So if you see.
Oh, so you can like roll a ball without it sticking to your hand really badly.
Yes, and so if you see, I had some masa. I don't know if you guys can see. I had some masa on my hand, and so I can basically roll this bowl and remove all of the masa that I had in my hand.
Your hands are clean now, so okay.
Yes. And so that's the kind of consistency that you want for your masa. And so there's 2 ways that you can work or make your pupusas here, because we're gonna start.
Michi, do you mind if I spotlight you too? Looks like you're cooking along. All right.
Yeah, Michelle's cooking along.
Hello. I'm cooking with 2.
You can put
I
your hands
mean,
in it, Michelle. It's better if you feel it with your hands.
I know, but I like to mix it first, and because that's what I'm doing, cleaning off the chopsticks, and then I'm gonna go in with my hands.
Oh, okay.
Just habit.
So Michi cooked last week and we made fresh spring
Summer
rolls.
roll, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spring rolls are usually fried. Usually, summer roll is usually the like
So this is a
raw, quote unquote.
weekly cooking together class where we have a different chef that shares their food and culture with us every week. And so I've been doing this almost 5 years. So
It's amazing.
yeah, it's fun.
So let me show you also another tool that it's very common that we use is a tortilla press. We don't really want our pupusas really thin, but some people are kind of, you know, don't know working them on their hands, or it's the first time, you know, like some people.
So if you use the press though, aren't you not making a pupusa? Now you're making a torta.
No.
So for me, a torta is like a really, really thick tortilla.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I'm completely wrong.
That could be if that, I mean, if that's your definition of torta. I have another definition of torta. So
Okay.
torta, you know, like it's like a sandwich, basically.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think when I think of torta. And so I basically just use like 2 plastic circles so that it won't stick to the press. But you know, it's just for, you can use a tortilla press, or you can even use your chopping boards to squeeze it a little bit.
Have you ever got just a jar and rolled it like a rolling pin on it?
No.
Oh, huh.
I mean, you can do that too. You know, it's not necessarily what I do, but you can do that too.
So how about rolling it into a ball and then just with your hand pushing it down? But you want it pretty level, huh?
Mm-hmm. I mean, with, you know, with the pupusas, you don't want like perfect round. You know, you want somewhat round, but you don't want, you know, like the perfect circle. And so you can make your little balls if you want, and have them ready. I usually just go by, you know, grab some of the dough and start kind of making it. We are kind of looking at something as thick as your pinky finger. So we want a tortilla that has some bite to it. So we don't want it like super flat. And so what I do is, we're gonna start making the pupusa right now. So you can either put it in a plastic, if you have a plastic circle or a plastic chopping board. What I do is I kind of, you know, make my tortilla in and put it there into my, you know, like a round circle kind of.
So is that a special plastic or?
No, it's just a Ziploc bag that I cut.
Okay,
It's just regular, yeah, any plastic you have.
so could you do that? Just put it in a plastic bag and then just squish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just,
I'm
it
just trying to
depends
think
on,
of
you know, the
different
spaces that you have.
options. Yeah.
Plastic bag, you can cut it. Just cut the tip of the Ziploc bag, you know, or leave it. And so what I do is that I kind of round my hand like you know, like if you were to gather water with your hands. So what I'm making is kind of a little hole in my dough, you know, a little hole to put the cheese on. So we want something kind of like this, you know, like a little container for our cheese. And so I'll just grab the cheese, whatever amount you want, and put it in that little hole. and then close it up. We're gonna close it up. And we're gonna make a little bowl. So, you know, just this little bowl. Right now it looks like really thick and it looks like a bun. And so what I did is you can either put it in the plastic, squish it a little bit with your chopping boards or your rolling pin or whatever, but I just kind of go around and like with my hand, we're gonna flat it a little bit, make it a little bit flat. And so we're gonna have something similar to what we had at the beginning. So it's gonna, you know, it's just another, it's flat and you see that it has kind of the cheese in it. And we can just put it on the side because we're gonna make like 2 or 3. Same process, you grab some dough. And you know, I recommend not making them super big, just because it's more manageable to have like something, I don't know, like a CD size, yeah, something like that. So same process, I'm just gonna flatten it up a little bit, make my little.
So the matzah, you didn't put oil or any flavor, it's just water and corn flour, not cornmeal.
Yes, corn flour, it's just water in it.
Yeah, and corn flour is a lot more thin. Actually, matzah flour, I think, is even thinner than what we call corn flour in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's ground even finer.
Yeah, it's really fine, yes. It's like all-purpose flour, basically, you know. And so
I'm trying to think if I've seen matzah in any place except like what we would call a Mexican store in the US.
Walmart, at least here, I can speak for every Walmart in every place, but at least here is very common to find Maseca in Walmart. Even you can buy it online too, in the Walmart online. It's just like
Oh,
$2.
actually, my local Save-A-Lot store, which is a southern US store, has, you know, a Latin section. They've got matzah there too. And they've got like the corn husks to make tamales too. So yeah.
Our tamales, by the way, are wrapped in banana leaves, not in the corn husk. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever had one in banana leaves. I wonder if it tastes much different.
Yes. The banana leaves gives it like a smoky, earthy flavor.
Oh, cool. I love smoky flavor.
So we have another one here ready. The only thing with tamales is that it's a kind of a factory line, assembly line, because you need to make the masa and then add the vegetables and then wrap it and then steam it. And so it's basically a whole day process.
I once made almost 300 tamales with my roommate. He was making it for his mother for her birthday. I think it was for her birthday, but as a surprise. He borrowed her pot, and it was like a huge pot. Once we made them all, it like took 5 hours to actually like steam them all. But so I've only done that once, and like you said, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. In my house, it was kind of, grandma would make the masa, and then the grandkids would be like, okay, you wrap, you tie, you put in the thing. And so it was a lot of fun.
Michi, what kind of ingredients are you putting inside?
So I made some refried beans from scratch earlier. So I mixed my mozzarella with the refried beans. So mine's like a different color a little bit because I mixed it together, but then I also have a little bit on the side too, along, and I made the pickled onions too with a little bit earlier. So onions and carrots and some basil with star anise, clove, cumin.
She's putting the Asian flair to pupusas.
Yeah.
Just like Szechuan pepper.
Yeah, I put Sichuan peppercorn in the pickling liquid too, along with star anise and clove and
I started really liking Szechuan pepper recently. It's not really a spicy, but it like numbs your
it's a numbing, yeah, it's a numbing pepper. We have hot pots that like are completely with Sichuan pepper and you drink it and it's like it numbs your whole mouth, but it's so nice.
that doesn't sound nice.
It's so nice. It's a very nice, like, you know, like the buzzy feeling. It's like a vibrating, buzzy feeling.
Ooh.
It's very nice, especially in the winter time. It's very good.
So, yep, that's
Okay,
a different way of
have
making
3.
pupusas.
I have 3 ready.
Oh no. I need to make 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll follow you then.
So
No,
Yolany,
I follow you.
is this something you like make really quick for breakfast, or because it doesn't seem like it's a complicated dish to make?
Oh no, it's not complicated. Usually, I mean, it depends. Like the refried beans that Michi added, it's more of a breakfast thing. I like to do also chicharrón, which is just pork, like, you know, fried pork. And so, yeah, it's a quick breakfast. I mean, quick lunch. But they're better fresh, honestly. I don't like them reheated. But you could definitely reheat them. But I just like them freshly made.
The first time I grew up eating so many beans, and I had never had what you would call fresh beans until I went to Mexico. Because all the beans you buy in the store here are like 2 or 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some where they were picked like 2 months before, and oh my goodness, like they were still dried beans. To me,
Yeah.
they didn't look any different than you would buy in a store in the US, but they were not like years and years old. And the flavor was just tremendously better.
Yeah. I noticed that with, you know, because we eat a lot of bean soup. Like that is very common, you know, basically boil a whole bunch of beans and have it, because we eat them whole or for refrying or with rice and beans together. And so it's basically it's a staple to have in a Honduran house, beans, because you will eat them 3 times a day sometimes.
So can you give us any trick to like filling a pupusa? Like putting the baby inside.
So don't make it too thin. I would say, you know, you don't want a thin pupusa. You want something that has a bite to it. When you fill it up also, I mean, I have a very small hand, but try not to overfill it, because then you will have a bigger ratio of filling and the dough. So you want to have kind of a similar ratio so that it stays together, because if you have a lot, it will kind of break and overflow. And so you won't have a pupusa, you have like pieces of a pupusa when you cook it.
I finished my
Add
first
anything you want, basically. You don't want like soupy things either. Like if you have chicken, you don't want chicken that has like a sauce or a soup. So you don't want a lot of liquid in it.
So have you ever done it with other things besides water, like, you know, leftover soup or juice? I don't know. I'm just trying to be weird.
Not really. I think I've used some vegetables mostly and meats.
So what is something you wouldn't put in a pupusa?
Like broccoli or, you know, green beans.
I think anything very wet, you wouldn't want something very wet in it because it would just fall apart. Because you're going to fry them, right?
Nope.
No?
Mm-mm.
I thought you fried them. Like,
I mean, you pan cook
Like-
them, but they're not fried.
okay.
I
So
hope
not like
it's oil
arepas
out.
where you like they fry both sides.
Yes, it's like, you know, like when you make a tortilla, basically. You just want to have a hot pan and a little bit of oil so it won't stick, but that's it. It's not a lot of oil. So I'm gonna wash my hands so that we can go to the cooking part.
I'm gonna use my camera. Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I need to change. You're switching cameras.
Gonna switch us. On mute. So I'm going to have my heat around like 6, like medium high. But we don't want it really super high.
Have you ever cooked them in the oven?
Not cook them. I just put them there, you know, when I'm making a big batch to keep them warm. And so, you know, a regular pan, I have this thing for the oil. I like it because I can kind of manage the amount that I'm going to add.
I mean, you're essentially frying them, but not like deep frying them, just lightly frying. You wouldn't call that frying?
I
Like
mean, I
pan
just
fry.
want the oil basically coating the pan.
Coating the pan, okay.
Yeah.
Just so it doesn't stick.
Yeah, we don't want like.
So you're cooking it on the stovetop, but you don't want it to stick to the pan. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not putting very much oil.
No. See, it's just like.
Yolany, can you show us how thick they are? Because
Yes. I have them here, so.
Okay, so it's not very thick.
No, it's not really thick. It's like, you know, half an inch maybe.
Half an inch.
Something like that. And so,
Okay.
and they cook very quickly. We just want them to kind of inflate a little bit.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna make sure that it's hot. And I'm just gonna put it. So this is the side that I was kind of touching with my hand. So I'm just gonna put it on the other side, the bottom side on the pan.
Yeah. Yolany, do you ever put the lid on it to like bake it in there, or you always watch it?
Yeah, I watch it. No, I don't put the lid on it.
It took me a long time to start baking things because I always want to watch when I cook stuff. It's really hard for me to like put stuff in the oven and then forget about it.
I think it's a control thing.
It's a control.
We just want to be in control of what you're cooking and, you know, make sure that it looks the way you want it to look. And so see, when it's in the pan, it kind of, you can move it around and it kind of moves around. So that's kind of what we want.
And so you when you're heating it, does it like puff up like?
Yeah, it pops up a little bit.
Because, yeah, I've
That's how
done
you
that.
kind of know it's ready, right? Like it puffs up a little bit and then, you know, okay, this one is ready. I can cook the next one.
So have you ever done fruit ones, or it's always
have never
savory?
done fruit ones.
Yeah. So
I think the one experimenting with fruits and veggies and cucumber whipped cream, that's Michi. She's the adventurous one.
let's see. Now, do you ever do it just plain with nothing in it and then just eat it with stuff? Or always put stuff inside?
No, then if you just leave it, you know, without anything, you're just making a tortilla, basically.
Okay.
And so if you put the stuff inside, it's the pupusa. If you don't put anything, then it's just a tortilla. And so
yeah, I just cook one at a time.
Yes.
So it's not even like browned. You flipped it and it's not even like browned at all. It's still white.
I want the browner side that I want is the one with the cheese, that it kind of you know, you see the cheese more the top side, because I touched it, and so it's not fully masa. It has like some little holes, and so I want the cheese brown on that side. And so even now that I'm cooking it, it's starting to puff up a little bit, because, you know, the cheese inside is starting to melt and kind of puffing up. So we're just gonna give it some time. I mean, I don't have a bigger pan to cook more than one. And so if you have a bigger pan, you can cook 3 or more. I don't have one that's that big.
Right.
I was just about to say, I wish I made mine smaller so I could put 2 or 3 in the pan.
Yeah. If they're smaller, they cook faster, right? The smaller they are, the faster they cook, or no?
Maybe 3 minutes per side.
Okay. The hard part is waiting for it to be ready to eat now, huh?
Yeah.
So
the cheese is going to start kind of dripping out too. And so it's gonna be kind of brown and charred a little bit.
So basically when you made it kind of like a bowl, put the cheese in there and kind of thinly covered it. So not like what I would think of as a bun where you'd make it.
Yeah,
thick,
it looked like a bun, and then you just flatten your bun, basically. You flatten it.
So, man.
And so see, this is kind of the top part. I think it's like a lot of like, and so it looks.
Yeah, so that's what I was expecting it to be, a little golden.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can leave it longer if you like. So I just flipped it, and I'm gonna let it brown a little bit on the bottom.
So you think like 3 or 4 minutes on each side?
Something like that, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. But, and then you're gonna cut it and go like pull it apart, and it'll be like a pizza with the cheese.
Yes. That's what we want.
And so you don't really have a sauce to serve it. You said you just serve it with the pickled onions and a side of slaw.
You put the slaw on top of it. It's like your toppings for it.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking whether you like would, you know, just break off little pieces and dip it in a sauce, or how you eat it.
No, we don't really have a sauce. You know, that's what I was explaining. But Salvadorian pupusas do have a tomato-based sauce, but they kind of pour over the pupusa, and then they put the pickled vegetables. But the Honduran version, we don't really use a tomato or any other kind of sauce. It's more like the slaw and your pickled vegetables. That's kind of the liquid that will go on top. So this one is ready.
So now we just need a plane to come and deliver that to me.
This one is already ready. So it's, you know, kind of brown on top and has some cheese on the side. So I don't need to add more oil into this pan. I can just add another one basically straight away.
So you're just putting just barely in any oil at all, just to make it so it doesn't stick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, wonderful.
Yeah, you don't really, because you know the dough is already thick. So if you add a lot of oil, it will be like oily dough and cheese. So it won't.
That sounds wonderful to me. The more oil, I'm a fat boy.
I think if you were to deep fry it, and you know, like as if you do fried chicken or something, might be better, but not, you know, with just a slightly smaller amount of oil.
So that one you already made, do you want to like tease us with it, pull it apart and show us, or? And
Sure. I'm going to just drip a couple of drops of oil on top of it. So by the time I flip it, it will have a little bit of oil.
I think the real secret that what you have there is very dry. So there's, you know, if it was had any moisture, it would stick to the pan.
Mm-hmm.
But by you making it very, very dry. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want the dough like crumbly or like, you know, you want your dough to be soft. So let me leave this one here. I'm gonna move to the other camera.
So Yolany, everything you put in it has to be already cooked?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I were to add chicken, for instance, the chicken should be cooked. Or if I want to add pork, should be cooked. You could do pulled pork if you want it. And so, see when we
Ah, look at that cheese.
see the cheese stringing there, it's hot. And so the way you would do it is, you know, you put your slaw on top of it. And some of the pickled onions. And then you know, the vinegar, I like to kind of drip the vinegar also on top of it. That's kind of how it looks. I think it's just too, it's not really good lighting for you to see all the colors. And I'm going to move this. So my other pupusa is ready too, and so it's kind of brown at the bottom. I think the other camera is better, so let me show you the other camera. Yeah, I think this camera is better. So see, this one got a little bit browner at the bottom. And this is how, you know, the pupusa looks with your toppings.
All right. Mitchie, is this your first time making pupusas?
No, I've made them once before.
So do you
And then
have any tidbits that you feel like people might need to know that you learned from Yolany here?
I feel like one of the difficult parts of making the pupusas is learning how to close up the ball. And I'm fortunate that like I I've done that before. However, I think something that is helpful as you're wrapping it to slowly like close your hand along with it as you're wrapping it together to form that ball. And I think that will help you narrow that hole, that opening, until you can close it. I think that's one of the most important things whenever it comes to making pupusas, just in my opinion. What do you think, Yolany?
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's very important to, like you said, work with your hands. And you know, make sure that you're closing the top, and then that you can work with that bun basically and flatten it a little bit.
I'm ready to eat. I got 3 more to put on the grill or put on the pan. I'm ready to eat it.
You ready to eat it?
I know, I made 6.
So do you have any final words that you want to see before I stop the recording? I thank you very much for bringing your culture to people from all over the world. We have people logged in just looking now from about 7 different countries. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No, thank you everyone for joining. And I hope that wherever in the world you are able to find the corn flour and try the dish at some point if you couldn't find it. And you know, interestingly, there's just so many dishes that we share around the world. And so, you know, by learning is from each other, it's just great, you know, to have that opportunity to, even though we're so far away. So enjoy your pupusas.
I think next week we have someone from Peru off the top of my head. So thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias.
No problem.